Welcome to the MSDW podcast. I'm Jason Gumpert, editor at MS Dynamics World. On this episode, we are diving into the challenges that CFOs, controllers, and other decision makers are managing today. This episode is sponsored by SignUp Software, and my guests, SignUp's Bob Monio and Velosio's Chris Wheeler, are here to discuss market conditions and trends that are driving priorities for companies using Dynamics 365 Business Central. When it comes to automation, executives are prioritizing investments based on end-to-end business processes, Bob explains. And with their ExFlow suite, SignUp also counts on partners like Velosio to set an impactful context for technology investments. Chris shares some of Velosio's recent experiences, as well as plans for the future of the partnership between the firms. All right, well, I'm here with Bob Monio and Chris Wheeler. Welcome to both of you. Bob, why don't we start with you? Welcome back. Can you tell our listeners, in case they haven't met you or heard you before, just tell us a little about who you are and what you do?
Thanks, Jason. Pleasure to be here today with yourself and Chris. My name is Bob Monio, and I'm Senior Director for Partners and Sales in North America and what we call the SMB market as it applies to Microsoft 365 Business Central. And it's great to be here today. Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you back as always. And Chris, welcome to the podcast for the first time.
Thank you, Jason. Hi, Bob. Chris Wheeler here. I'm the Director of Alliance Programs at Velosio. Velosio is Microsoft's largest mid-market ERP partner, and I am here to help fuel our massive growth expectation through working with partners such as SignUp Software.
All right, excellent. Well, I'm really looking to getting into the conversation here. We have some big questions to ask and to perhaps answer and to look forward with. So yeah, let's get right into it. Bob, I want to talk about current market conditions and how they're impacting Business Central customers. I know you've been on the road. You've been talking with CFOs, controllers, other decision makers in the context of Business Central. What are some of the conditions that and issues that you're talking about?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a rather tumultuous time in the market as we're watching what's going on out there. And as you know, tariffs and other types of things are playing a big role in the decisions that the people we work with in the office of the CFO are having to contend with. And you're right. It's been a roadshow over the last 4 or 5 months where we've been talking about this with customers and talking about it with partners. Velosio has joined us for a number of those types of discussions. But tariffs, bad actors, and fraud, certainly a heavy emphasis on wanting to preserve capital and trying to do that in the context of all of the uncertainty that's going on has really tightened things up for our customers and for CFOs in general. And they're looking for ways that they can address that risk associated with that capital preservation. So we've been on the road talking about this with them. We've been discussing the impact on the channel and what the channel is seeing in regards to that. And we've been providing some workarounds and some routes that they can take to address this so that you can minimize that risk and that CFO and that partner can work together to be able to address the solution that they need.
All right, excellent. Yeah, Chris, let me bring you in here. So from your perspective at a system integrator, a technology services provider that's working, hand in hand with customers on a daily basis, can you give your view on, or maybe Velosio's view on sort of how these trends are impacting your firm's work with Business Central clients?
Sure. My background in selling to the office of CFO, it is the most risk-adverse group inside of corporate America, right? So with tariffs and the uncertainty, it drives a focus around real ROI, cash preservation is what Bob mentioned, but also real project outcomes to make sure that money is spent wisely. But more importantly, there's a real look at what projects are important, what's the ROI, and companies like ISVs like SignUp Software help sort of squall some of those concerns around efficiency and some of those risks of the uncertainty in the market.
All right, great. Certainly there's a place for those capabilities and how they fit into that strategy. Can you tell us any more about some of the investment decisions or other strategic decisions that you're seeing companies try to make right now?
Well, again, as you're looking at the actual cash and capital preservation side of things, I think Chris hit on something that was really important. That is, there's an immense amount of scrutiny that's now being applied, a new lens being applied to all of the projects and activities and other things that are being undertaken by organizations. And the CFO certainly has their fingers on that pulse. because, of course, they're monitoring everything that's going on. They have to make sure that capital preservation is the ultimate and most paramount goal that they have to see. But as we talk with players in the market right now, we see scenarios where projects are being delayed. We see situations where sometimes even, projects aren't being paid for because, cash is being looked at, and days outstanding on invoices sitting in the queue to be paid are stretching out as these players right now are trying to figure out, how can I ensure the sanctity of my business while at the same time still dealing with paying my providers who are doing work for me. So there's a lot of that that's going on right now. And that lens that's being applied to solution provider and to the actual projects themselves is something that as you tighten that up, they're now looking for things that can provide immediate time to value. Return on investment measured in a much shorter time scale than it has been measured in the past. And they're looking at ways that they can leverage the existing technology that they've invested in, like Business Central, and things that are built into Business Central, such as what we provide, such that they don't have to take on a lot of extra costs in order to achieve the same ROI that they were planning to get previously. So, part of our working relationships with partners like Velosio is we really want to make sure that they have everything that they need to be able to do this work and be able to have that customer that they're talking to feel that they're minimizing that risk and that they're getting the things that they need to get done. Or even making investments and doing some acquisitions in such ways that this helps, continue to round out that portfolio and improve that positioning for them. The other thing that we're doing is we're doing a lot of, as you mentioned, road shows. We're doing a lot of thought leadership discussions out there in the market, something like we're talking about here today, where we're presenting, to what is sometimes a very scared populace of people who are coming in to listen and giving them a sense of safety, a sense of understanding, a sense of the fact that we've been here before, we can address this, follow us, work with partners like Velosio. We'll get through this time and you'll come out much, much better than you were previously because we're going to help you get there.
That's really an interesting sort of description of what's going on out there, because you describe a lot of concerns and a lot of ways to manage them or address them. When you think about some of the automation opportunities, I know that SignUp, and you in particular, Bob, you're often talking about some of the important end-to-end business processes that organizations follow when they're trying to manage some of these challenges. Can you talk about what your guidance is for those now, and has any of that changed?
Well, I would say overall, the guidance hasn't changed, but what has changed are the accelerants that we're adding into making sure that the things that they need to do to manage cash, which really includes the entire order to cash and what's being done from a procure to pay perspective, are being accelerated. We're talking to customers and we're working with Velosio and other partners, but primarily Velosio being one of the largest. We see them all the time as our best partner. We're really doing everything we can to make sure that tools such as Copilot and other AI types of tools are being interjected in. So we're maximizing what's in the platform and really bringing that to the forefront. When it comes to procure to pay, we're really looking at what can be done to accelerate payment strategies, electronic payments, and other types of things, because again, that is another area that today will help compress the cycle time and help a customer see even more return on investment with what they're getting and what they're doing. So we're doing a lot of thought leadership, a lot of education in that space. And wherever possible, we're working with our top partners like Velosio, who was our partner of the year for us this year, such that they and us together can bring forward that type of education, to our customers out there. Because again, we've got to help them understand, how to minimize their risk, how to take advantage of what they have in their technologies, and how to really be able to put that to work for them.
Yeah, Chris, let me bring you back in on that. I mean, Bob obviously spoke about the importance of that relationship. What's your perspective on sort of marrying some of those end-to-end processes with partnering with a firm like SignUp?
Yeah, Bob touched on several things that sort of caused me to perk up when he talked about things like challenges in the market, CFOs wanting to save cash, the focus on real project outcomes, but more importantly, the shift in the use of AI and automation in the industry. It's going to help sort of allow companies to do more with less. And we won't always be in these challenging times. So what we see are companies looking to shore up their infrastructure to prepare for what's next, and using things like SignUp to do that from an automation and procure to pay to cash perspective will help CFOs be prepared for the post challenges we have now in the industry.
Yeah, Bob, in terms of the partnership, can you talk a little bit more about the execution from your perspective in today's landscape?
From a partnership standpoint, it's all about making sure that we're working arm in arm when it comes to the things that we develop as an organization here at SignUp, such that a partner like Velosio has all the knowledge necessary, whether it's at a thought leadership level or at an educational level, to be able to communicate the capabilities to their customers. Meanwhile, also making sure that they have training and all the other things that are necessary in order to ensure that their delivery can make that reality be the outcome that the customer is looking for. As we're continuing to expand and grow into this evolving AI market space, which is something that is very, very exciting. And yet at the same time, it's something that we have to really come to understand the impact that it brings. We're working together today with Velosio to look at how can we extend and embrace other areas of the office of the CFO where AI can have an immediate impact on the bottom line for our joint customers. Cash forecasting, financial reporting, things that are being done from a budget management standpoint. And really, very importantly, how can we help them manage their close process more efficiently? We introduced a new product called Content Gate, which is something that helps accelerate that record to report function. So alongside a procure to pay and order to cash, these are all things that, through our partnership, Velosio customers can now see as ways that they can accelerate those outcomes and really survive and thrive in what is going to be a new paradigm of a market as we come through this.
All right, great. And Chris, maybe this one's for you when it comes to actually deploying SignUp solutions, the ExFlow suite, Content Gate, perhaps. Can you talk any more about what deployment looks like from your perspective?
Yeah, but at a very high level, though, Jason, I want to go back to what Bob said. So SignUp, even though we're their partner of the year, Bob and his team have been nothing but outstanding in how they've helped our sales team become enabled on how to position ExFlow and the other SignUp products to our customer base. And then also the training enablement for our delivery team to also deliver those solutions to our customers. We take a very much a hand-holding approach and walk our customers through the entire implementation process of BC and the other ISVs that are attached to that, to make sure that they come out very happy, referenceable customers and using the platform to take care of all the challenges we talked about earlier in this podcast.
Well, let me just look a little more broadly out into the world with both of you. Bob, what trends are you watching for as you, I think, already start scanning the horizon for next year?
I would say that for us, it's all about right now, first of all, helping our partners and our customers win this race and in turn be able to accelerate coming out of the curve. As you probably know, if you're looking at auto racing, the race is really won in the curve. It's not won in the straightaway. And right now we're coming through this curve. So we're encouraging customers and partners to be understanding of what it means to have deep domain expertise and how that really applies and what they're doing with their data and how their vertical focus really comes to the forefront, so that as they flow through this upcoming curve and as partners like Velosio are there helping them do that, those customers will come through that curve and they'll be winners in that new paradigm of the market that we're seeing. But there's other trends that are out there too, trends of how is AI going to continue to evolve and what is that going to mean to the business? And those are things that we continue to look at daily in our business. Our strategy leaders and others are continually looking at ways that we can leverage the tools and technologies that are within Business Central and within Copilot to help make the platform be that much more successful. We also continue to look at what's going on in the office of the CFO and moderating and really seeing where the trends are from the perspective of what the industry is doing. What are people saying? Whereas before it was always about 100% about fraud, we're now seeing that fraud is stepped back, but AI has taken a forefront forefront. So from that standpoint, where do those two continue to mature? And certainly, can we make sure that partners like Velosio are getting the best of both worlds and we're helping them navigate those areas? And so we do pay attention to these things. This is crucial to our success, and it's crucial to the success of our partners like Velosio. So we're continuing to do those things, Jason, and really watching where it's going.
All right. And Chris, let me maybe put the same type of question to you. What can you tell us about what Velosio is planning for with customers and perhaps with partnerships?
Sure, Jason. It's really about Copilot and apps and automation and agent. The paradigm shift is happening so quickly in the market for software and for corporations that everyone has to take a point of view on how AI is going to impact their business. Start small with projects that they can really generate an ROI and impact on the business. I think that is number one. And then number two is, yes, the Office of CFO is going to continue to look for software and partners who can help them leverage cash and software investments to create an ROI, allows them to run their business more efficiently and look forward to coming out of these challenging times in a more profitable position. That's what we're looking at from a Velosio perspective. Obviously, we're heavily tied to Microsoft and watching all of the Copilot and AI decisions that are being made there, and really make sure we're focused on who's going to win sort of the AI wars that are upon us right now.
Yeah, interesting times indeed, and a lot to watch at the same time, as you noted there. Great. Well, really interesting perspective on that. And Bob, let me turn back to you. Beyond today's conversation, where can people who are listening learn more about what you have planned?
Well, they can certainly come out to our website, signupsoftware.com, or contact myself or others from our firm. We'll be more than happy to share with them the directions we're taking, how we can introduce partners such as Velosio to them as a customer, and or also just discuss what's taking place in the Office of the CFO. This is an area that we've lived in for over 25 years, and we consider ourselves experts in this space, and we'll do everything we can to help them understand how to weather the current storms, but also really prepare for what the future is going to bring.
All right, excellent. Yeah, as you mentioned, we'll have a couple links in the show notes. Well, always great to talk with you, Bob. Chris, welcome to the MSDW podcast family, I guess. Great to have you with us here as well. And thanks very much to both of you for being with me.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. It's always a pleasure to be on again with you and hear your stellar voice.
Thanks. This has been another episode of the MSDW podcast. My thanks once again to Bob and Chris for joining. And this message from SignUp Software. Explore SignUp Software's native D365 solutions at signupsoftware.com and discover how Velosio can support your business at velosio.com. And that's it for this episode. If you want to get in touch with me, you can send me an email, jason@msdynamicsworld.com. For all of our updates, please do follow us on LinkedIn. Until next time, this is MS Dynamics World, signing off.